Ambassador Trelovic had seen many worlds in his long life. He had walked on crystal planets where the ground sang beneath his feet. He had swum through the liquid cities of the Maluvians. He had negotiated peace treaties in chambers filled with beings of 1,000 different shapes. But he had never been as nervous as he was now, standing in the white corridor of Earth's orbital station. The station was strange. Everything was built too heavy, too thick. The doors looked like they belonged on military bunkers, not a diplomatic facility. The gravity was wrong, too. It pressed down on his thin frame, making each step an effort. His assistant, a young Talrini named Vess, was struggling even more. Her breathing had become labored within minutes of boarding. "Perhaps we should request lower gravity," Vess suggested, her voice strained. "No," Trelovic said firmly. "We need their help. We cannot appear weak before we even meet them." The door ahead slid open with a heavy grinding sound. Inside, 3 humans waited. Trelovic had studied the files about Earth. He knew the facts. Class 12 Death World. Gravity 1.8 times Coalition standard. Atmosphere with dangerously high oxygen content. Surface temperature variations that would kill most species. Oceans filled with salt and predators. Land covered with aggressive flora and fauna. Disease organisms in everything. The list went on, but knowing facts and seeing reality were different things. The human in the center stood and walked forward. He was tall, built with dense muscle that spoke of a high-gravity world. His movements were controlled, efficient. His eyes were forward-facing, predator eyes. "Ambassador Trelovic," the human said, extending his hand. "I'm Commander Doyen. Welcome to Earth's first orbital station." Trelovic reached out carefully and touched the human's hand. The grip was gentle, but he could feel the strength behind it. This being could crush his bones without effort. "Thank you for seeing us, Commander," Trelovic said. "I apologize for the urgency of our visit." "Please sit," Doyen gestured to chairs that had been modified for non-human bodies. "You said in your message that the Coalition faces an extinction event." Trelovic sat gratefully, his legs shaking from the gravity. "Yes. The Velnar swarm has destroyed 12 of our systems in 3 cycles. They are a hive species, entirely focused on expansion and consumption. We have tried everything. Negotiation fails because they do not communicate. Our weapons slow them but cannot stop them. We are losing." The human woman to Doyen's left leaned forward. She had been introduced as Captain Hana. "How many ships do they have?" "We estimate 40,000 combat vessels," Vess provided. "They breed warriors faster than we can kill them." "And coalition forces?" Hana asked. 70,000 ships, Trelovic said. "But our losses are 3 to 1. For every Velnar ship we destroy, we lose 3 of ours." The third human, Dr. Jiho, spoke for the first time. "What do your soldiers eat?" Trelovic blinked. "Excuse me?" "Your soldiers. What is their diet?" We are herbivores mostly. The Maluvians filter nutrients from water. The Orthex absorb energy directly. Why does this matter?" Dr. Jiho exchanged a glance with Commander Doyen. Something passed between them. Some understanding that Trelovic could not grasp. "How long can your soldiers fight without rest?" Hana asked. 4 hours is the standard rotation, Vess answered. 6 in emergency situations. Again, that look between the humans. "Ambassador," Doyen said slowly, "I need to be very clear about something. You came to Earth because you learned we exist. You read our planetary classification. You know what kind of world we come from." "Yes," Trelovic said. "A death world. Class 12. We know your planet is dangerous. That is why we believe you can help us. Your people must be strong to survive such a place." Doyen nodded. "We are. But strength comes in many forms. I need you to understand what you're asking for. Our soldiers are not like yours. We evolved differently. We think differently. We fight differently. We are desperate. Commander, Trelevik said, the Council has authorized me to offer Earth full coalition membership, immediate technology sharing, and economic partnership. In exchange, we need military assistance. We need soldiers who can fight the swarm. How many soldiers do you want? Hana asked. As many as you can spare. Thousands, if possible. Tens of thousands would... We'll send 500, Doyen interrupted. Trelevik felt his hope crumble. 500? Commander, with respect, the swarm has millions of warriors. 500 soldiers, even human soldiers, cannot... 500 to start, Doyen said. Let us see the battlefield first. Let us see your enemy. Then we'll know what we need. But, Ambassador, do you know why Earth wasn't discovered until now? Doyen asked. We've had radio technology for over 200 years. We've had satellite networks for more than a century. Why did the Coalition never notice us? Trelevik hesitated. Your planet's magnetic field is unusual. It disrupts long-range scans, and your location in the galaxy is not along major routes. That's part of it, Doyen agreed. But there's another reason. We've been listening to Coalition broadcasts for 50 years. We chose not to respond. We waited. We watched. We learned. A chill ran through Trelevik's body. You were studying us. We were being careful, Hana said. It's what you do when you grow up on a world where everything is trying to kill you. You watch. You learn. You prepare. We know about the swarm, Dr. Jiho added. We've been tracking the war through your broadcasts. We've analyzed their tactics, their biology, their weaknesses. They have no weaknesses, Vess said quietly. We have looked for years. Everything has weaknesses, Hana said. Her smile was not comforting. You just have to know where to look. And more importantly, you have to be willing to exploit them. Doyen stood. Ambassador, I'll be direct. Earth will help you. We'll send our soldiers. But you need to understand something first. We are not like you. We come from a world that tried to kill us every single day. We evolved to fight back, to endure, to win, no matter the cost. That is exactly what we need, Trelevik said, standing as well, though the gravity made him sway. Maybe, Doyen said, but remember this conversation when you see us fight. Remember that you asked for this. We are trying to be civilized, Ambassador. We are trying to be peaceful. But you are asking us to go to war. And when humans go to war, we don't do it halfway. The meeting ended soon after. As Trelevik and Vess made their way back to their ship, Vess spoke quietly. Do you think 500 will be enough? I don't know, Trelevik admitted. But something about them frightens me. Did you see how they moved? How they asked questions? They asked about food and sleep patterns, Vess said, confused. Strange questions for warriors. No, Trelevik said. They were assessing weaknesses. They were thinking like predators. He paused at the airlock. We came here looking for help. I think we may have found something else entirely. What? Trelevik looked back at the station, where 3 humans stood watching them leave. I think we found what the swarm is about to learn. That there are worse things in the galaxy than hive-minded insects. There are DeathworlDers. General Prillin watched the scanner display with growing dread. 500 human life signs were plummeting toward the planet's surface in metal pods. No shield generators, no slow-down thrusters until the last possible moment. They were dropping straight into the combat zone like stones. They're going to die, his tactical officer whispered. All of them. Humans are insane, another officer added. This is suicide. The planet below, Corvesh, was lost. Everyone knew it. The Velnar swarm controlled the surface. 3 coalition divisions had already evacuated. The remaining forces were trying to hold a small perimeter around the last spaceport. They would be overrun within hours. That's when the humans arrived. Prillin had expected a proper military deployment. Shuttles with heavy shielding, support craft, supply lines. Instead, he got 500 humans in drop pods aimed at the heart of enemy territory. "Sir, the humans are landing," the tactical officer reported. They're landing right in the middle of Velnar positions. "Get me a visual," Prillin ordered. The screen showed chaos. Velnar warriors swarmed over ruined buildings. Each warrior was 3 meters tall, covered in armor like chitin, armed with razor-sharp limbs that could cut through steel. A single warrior could kill a dozen coalition soldiers before being brought down. The human pods hit the ground like meteors. Dust and debris exploded outward. For a moment, there was silence. Then the pods opened. Humans emerged firing. Their weapons made sounds unlike anything in the coalition arsenal. Not the clean hum of energy weapons, but sharp cracks and thunderous booms. Velnar warriors fell, their armor punctured by projectiles moving faster than sound. "What are those weapons?" an officer asked, shocked. "Kinetic accelerators," Prillin said, reading the data. "They're throwing metal at hypersonic speeds." "That's primitive." "That's effective," Prillin corrected, watching Velnar drop. A human officer, Captain Hana, according to the identification tag, moved through the battlefield like she was born there. She fired her weapon in short, controlled bursts. Each burst killed a warrior. When her weapon ran empty, she didn't retreat. She pulled out a smaller weapon and kept firing. When that ran empty, she pulled out a knife. A Velnar warrior charged her. It was massive, its claws extended, mandibles clicking. Hana sidestepped, smooth as water, and drove her knife into a gap in its armor. The warrior collapsed. She retrieved her knife and kept moving. "Impossible," someone breathed. The battle lasted 14 minutes. When it ended, 200 Velnar warriors lay dead. The humans reported 0 casualties. "Get Commander Doyen on the line," Prillin ordered. "Now." Minutes later, Doyen's face appeared on the screen. He was standing in what had been the middle of the battle. Behind him, human soldiers were setting up defensive positions. They moved efficiently, calmly, like they did this every day. "General Prillin," Doyen said with a slight nod, "we've secured the landing zone." "Commander, your deployment was reckless." Prillin couldn't help himself. "You dropped directly into enemy territory with no support, no shields, no casualties," Doyen interrupted gently. "And we now control a forward position behind enemy lines." "You were lucky." "No, General, we were prepared." Doyen glanced around. "We've analyzed the Velnar tactics. They rely on overwhelming force and physical intimidation. They expect enemies to retreat. We don't retreat." A human medic appeared on screen, passing behind Doyen. She was small, young-looking. Her uniform had blood on it. She was humming. "Is that medic singing?" Prillin asked, horrified. "That's Suman," Doyen said. "She's in a good mood. She killed 3 Velnar warriors about 10 minutes ago." "Your medic kills enemy soldiers?" "All our soldiers are trained to fight, General. Suman's primary role is medical care, but this is a combat zone. Everyone fights when needed." Prillin felt sick. In coalition forces, medical personnel were sacred, never armed, never in combat. The idea of a healer killing was deeply disturbing. "General, we need to talk about your forces," Doyen continued. "I've reviewed your battle reports. Your soldiers fight in 4-hour rotations. They use energy shields as primary defense. They retreat when outnumbered 3-1. "Those are standard military protocols," Prillin said defensively. "They're getting your soldiers killed," Doyen said bluntly. "The Velnar adapt. They've learned that if they push hard enough, your forces retreat. They've learned to overwhelm your shields with mass attacks. They've learned your patterns. What do you suggest?" "We're going to teach your soldiers new patterns, aggressive defense, sustained combat operations, pain tolerance, how to fight when shields fail, how to keep fighting when you're outnumbered." "Our soldiers can't fight like humans," Prillin protested. "We're not built for it. We're not predators." Doyen's expression softened slightly. I know, General, and we're not asking you to become us, but we can teach you to survive. That's what we do. We survive. 3 hours later, Lieutenant Tai Yang called in a situation report. He had taken 20 humans and flanked a Velnar position through a collapsed industrial complex. The building was filled with toxic gas from ruptured chemical storage. It would kill any coalition species in minutes, Tai Yang reported casually. We had to use breathing filters, but it wasn't too bad. Reminded me of training back on Earth. We used to practice in contaminated environments all the time. Prillin listened in disbelief. Training in poison gas was normal for humans? Anyway, Tai Yang continued, we eliminated the Velnar position. 47 enemy casualties. We're holding the location now. It's a good choke point. The air's starting to clear out too. After the call ended, Dr. Jiho requested a meeting with Prillin. She arrived at his command ship with data files and a grim expression. General, I've been treating wounded coalition soldiers, she said. I need to discuss some concerns. Our soldiers are grateful for your help, Doctor. That's not the concern. She pulled up medical scans. Your soldiers have no redundant organ systems, minimal pain tolerance, weak bone density for combat, slow healing rates. General, your species never evolved for warfare. We evolved for peace, Prillin said stiffly. For cooperation, for harmony with our environments. I understand, Jiho said gently, and that's admirable. But it means your soldiers are fighting with bodies that weren't designed for this kind of stress. She hesitated. On Earth, we had to fight to survive every single day. Predators, diseases, environmental hazards, even plants that could kill you. Our bodies adapted. Multiple redundant systems, high pain tolerance, dense bones, fast healing. We're built for damage. You're built for war, Prillin said quietly. We're built for survival, Jiho corrected. War is just another survival situation for us. That night, Prillin stood in his command center and watched the tactical display. Human positions glowed green across the battlefield. They weren't retreating. They weren't requesting relief rotations. They were just there, holding, fighting, existing in conditions that would break coalition forces. A message came through from Sergeant Wu Jin. He was alone at a supply depot. Velnar forces were attacking. Coalition protocol said he should retreat immediately. I can hold for a while, Wu Jin reported. How long until reinforcements? 8 hours, Prillin said. Sergeant, retreat. That's an order. One soldier cannot hold against a Velnar assault. Sure I can, Wu Jin said. There were weapon sounds in the background. I've got ammunition, defensive positions, and honestly, sir, I'm kind of stubborn. Earth military training rule number 1, never give ground easily. See you in 8 hours. The connection ended. 8 hours later, when reinforcements arrived, they found Wu Jin sitting on a pile of dead Velnar warriors, calmly eating a ration pack. He was wounded in 3 places. He had used all his ammunition and resorted to improvised explosives. He had held. When asked how he survived, Wu Jin just shrugged. It's what we do. Prillin realized something that night. The coalition hadn't just found allies. They had found something that the swarm had never encountered before. They had found beings who simply refused to quit, no matter the odds. They had found DeathworlDers. 3 weeks passed. The humans reclaimed 4 planets. Coalition Command celebrated the victories, but something troubled Ambassador Trelvik. The humans made everyone nervous. It wasn't what they did, it was how they did it. Private Una sat in the station cafeteria, sharing a meal with a Maluvian soldier named Keleth. The Maluvian watched in fascination and horror as Una ate. That was alive once? Keleth asked, pointing at the protein on Una's plate. Yeah, it's chicken, Una said cheerfully. From Earth. We raise them, then eat them. You kill them yourself? Well, Not personally. We have facilities that do it. But yeah, humans eat meat. We're omnivores. We can eat plants or animals. Keleth's gill slits fluttered with distress. And you feel no guilt? Una paused, thinking. Not really. I mean, we thank the animal for its life. We try not to waste anything. But eating meat is natural for us. It's how we survived on Earth. On my world, the idea of consuming another living creature is... Keleth struggled for words. It's horrifying. What do you eat? Una asked. Filtered nutrients from water, algae cultures, plant extracts. Una nodded. That makes sense for an aquatic species. But Earth is different. Everything on Earth eats something else. Plants eat sunlight and soil. Herbivores eat plants. Predators eat herbivores. We eat everything. It's a cycle. A violent cycle, Keleth said quietly. Yeah, Una admitted. Earth is pretty violent, but it made us strong, and now we're using that strength to help you. That's not so bad, right? Keleth didn't answer. The real tension came during training. Commander Doyen insisted on training coalition soldiers in what he called aggressive defense. General Prillin agreed, desperate for anything that might help his forces survive. The first session was a disaster. Captain Hana stood before a group of 50 Talrini soldiers. They were the best warriors the coalition had. They had seen battle. They had survived encounters with the swarm. They considered themselves brave. Today we're going to practice advancing under fire, Hana announced. A Talrini officer, Bren, raised his hand. Captain, our doctrine says to take cover when under fire, then return fire from protected positions. I know your doctrine, Hana said. It's getting you killed. The Velnar expect you to take cover. They suppress you with fire, then flank you while you're pinned. We're going to teach you a different way. She activated a training simulation. Holographic Velnar warriors appeared, firing energy weapons at the Talrini position. When I give the signal, you're going to stand up and advance toward the enemy, Hana said. The Talrini stared at her. That's suicide, Bren said flatly. No, it's controlled aggression. You advance in teams. One team moves while another provides covering fire. You close the distance, you disrupt their formation, you force them to react to you instead of you reacting to them. But the casualties will be less than if you sit still and let them surround you, Hana interrupted. I know it's scary. I know every instinct tells you to hide, but hiding from the swarm doesn't work. You have to make them afraid of you. The training began. It went poorly. Talrini soldiers froze when the simulation started firing. When they did move, they scattered instead of staying in formation. Several broke down crying from the stress. After an hour, Hana called a break. She sat down next to Bren, who looked defeated. I can't do this, Bren said. My species. We're not warriors, not like you. We evolved on a gentle world. Our conflicts were solved through discussion, through social pressure. The idea of charging into danger goes against every instinct we have. I know, Hana said softly. And I'm not trying to make you human. But I need you to understand something. The Velnar are predators. They sense fear. They exploit hesitation. If you act like prey, they'll treat you like prey. So what do? You fake it. You act brave even when you're terrified. You advance even when you want to run. You do it because your teammates need you. You do it because the alternative is worse. She paused. On Earth we have a saying, courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting despite fear. Bren looked at her. You feel fear? All the time, Hana admitted. I was terrified during that first drop. Terrified when we landed in the middle of enemy territory. Terrified when that Velnar warrior charged me. But I acted anyway, because that's what soldiers do. How do you live with that fear? I don't think about it during combat. I think about my mission. I think about my team. I think about staying alive long enough to see tomorrow. She smiled slightly. And after combat, I let myself shake. I let myself feel it. Then I prepare for the next mission. The training continued. It got better, slowly. Coalition soldiers learned to move under fire. They learned to work in teams. They learned to push through fear. But it was hard. So hard. The cultural differences went deeper than combat training. Lieutenant Tai Yang tried to explain human entertainment to an Orthex scientist named Prill. They were watching a human movie during off-duty hours. So the main character is trying to survive, Prill said, watching the screen. He's trapped on a hostile planet alone with limited resources. Right, Taeyang said. And this is entertainment? For humans? Yeah, it's a great movie. Really inspiring. Inspiring? Prill's crystalline form shifted colors, indicating confusion. He's facing certain death. His situation is hopeless. Where is the entertainment? He doesn't give up, Taeyang explained. He uses science and engineering to solve problems. He grows food in impossible conditions. He figures out how to communicate across space. He survives when he should have died. This is a fantasy, then. Fiction? It's based on possible scenarios. Humans like stories about overcoming impossible odds. Why? Taeyang thought about it. Because that's what life on Earth is like. Everything there tries to kill you. Weather, animals, diseases, plants, even the ground during earthquakes. We grew up watching our ancestors survive impossible situations. Stories like this remind us that we can endure, that we can win. But the stress, Prill said, the constant danger in your entertainment, in your training, in your lives, how do you not break? Some of us do, Taeyang admitted. Dr. Jiho has been helping coalition soldiers with trauma. She helps our soldiers too. Stress is real. Fear is real. But we learn to cope with it. We have support systems. We have each other. And we have hope. Hope for what? Hope that tomorrow will be better. Hope that our struggles mean something. Hope that one day we won't have to fight anymore. He smiled. That's why we're here helping you. We're tired of war. We want peace. But first, we have to win this war. The breaking point came during a mission briefing. Commander Doyen proposed an offensive operation. The humans would strike deep into Velnar territory and attack a major hive. The odds of survival are approximately 40%, Doyen said calmly. The coalition officers in the room went silent. 40%? One asked. Commander, that means more than half your force will die. Yes, Doyen agreed. Which means nearly half will survive. And the mission will cripple Velnar operations in this sector, saving thousands of coalition lives. You can't ask your soldiers to take those odds. I'm not asking. I'm volunteering. And I'll only take volunteers with me. Within an hour, all 500 humans had volunteered. General Prillin sat in his office that night, reviewing the numbers. 40% survival rate. The humans had accepted it without hesitation. His own soldiers would mutiny at such odds. He called Ambassador Trelvik. We made a mistake, Prillin said without preamble. We thought we were hiring soldiers. We weren't. We brought predators into our war. Beings who see death as an acceptable outcome. They frighten me more than the swarm does. Do they frighten you enough to send them home? Trelvik asked. Prillin was quiet for a long moment. No. Because they're winning. And we're not. Whatever they are, we need them. Then we live with our choice, Trelvik said. We asked for Deathworlders. We got them. Now we see what they can really do. 50 humans went into Velnar space. Coalition Command could only watch and wait. The strike team used captured Velnar ships for the infiltration. The ships still smelled like the previous owners, a sharp chemical scent that made several humans gag. But it was perfect camouflage. Captain Hana commanded the operation. Beside her stood Lieutenant Tai Yang, Sergeant Wu Jin, Corporal Nari, and Medic Sumin. They were the core team. Behind them, 45 more humans prepared for what might be their last mission. "Remember the plan," Hana said as they approached the breeding world. "Nari plants the charges in the spawning chambers. Wujin secures our exit route. Taiyang provides overwatch. Sumin, you keep everyone alive. I'll handle the Queen's Guard." "And if things go wrong?" someone asked. Hana smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. "Then we improvise. We're good at that." The breeding world was called Velkareth. It was a nightmare made solid. The entire planet was covered in organic structures, massive hive complexes that pulsed with life. Millions of Velnar lived there, breeding, growing, preparing for war. The humans landed without incident. The Velnar expected coalition tactics, long-range bombardment, diplomatic overtures, hesitant advances. They didn't expect 50 humans to walk right into the heart of their world. "Temperature is 48 degrees, Taiyang reported. "High humidity, toxic spores in the air." "Filters on," Hana ordered. "And stay alert. We're in the hive now." They moved through corridors made of hardened resin and chitin. The walls were alive, breathing, warm to the touch. Bioluminescent patches provided dim light. The smell was overwhelming even through filters. "This is disgusting," Nari muttered. "Reminds me of that summer I worked in waste management back on Earth." "Focus," Hana said, but there was amusement in her voice. Only humans would compare an alien hive to a summer job. They encountered the first Velnar patrol 15 minutes in. 6 warriors, each massive and armored. The corridor was too narrow for energy weapons fire. "Close combat," Hana whispered. "Fast and quiet." The humans moved like shadows. Blades came out. The Velnar didn't even have time to alert the hive. 6 bodies dropped in 6 seconds. "I'm starting to feel bad for them," Sumin said, cleaning her knife. "They really don't expect anyone to fight this way." "They've only fought prey species," Wujin said. "We're predators. Different rules." They continued deeper into the hive. Nari reached the spawning chambers first. The room was enormous, filled with thousands of egg sacs hanging from the ceiling. Each sac contained a developing warrior. This was the future of the swarm. "Beginning placement," Nari said into her communicator. She moved efficiently, placing explosive charges at structural weak points. The bombs were specially designed, powerful enough to collapse the entire chamber. "How long?" Hana asked. 10 minutes for full coverage." "You have 7. Company's coming." Velnar warriors poured into the chamber. Not a patrol. An army. Someone had raised the alarm. "Wujin, Taiyang, buy her time," Hana ordered. Wujin set up at the chamber entrance, his heavy weapon spitting fire. Velnar warriors fell, but more kept coming. They climbed over their own dead, driven by hive instinct to protect the spawning chamber. Taiyang found a position on an upper level, hanging from a support beam. It was an impossible angle, uncomfortable, requiring all his strength to maintain. He held it anyway, firing with mechanical precision. Each shot killed a warrior. 4 minutes passed, then 5. "Almost done," Nari called out. She was working fast, her hands steady despite the chaos around her. A Velnar warrior broke through Wujin's line. It charged toward Nari, mandibles wide, claws extended. Sumin intercepted it, moving faster than something her size should move. She had a medical laser in one hand, her knife in the other. The laser wasn't designed as a weapon, but concentrated light still cut. She blinded the warrior, then hamstrung it with her knife. It collapsed. She finished it with a precise stab to its neural cluster. "Medical personnel, my ass," Nari said, grinning. "I contain multitudes," Sumin replied. 6 minutes, 7 minutes. "Done!" Nari shouted. "Charge is set, let's go!" The retreat was harder than the advance. Velnar warriors filled every corridor. The hive was fully alert now, mobilized against the intruders. The humans fought their way out step by bloody step. Hana led them toward the exit, but they ran into a problem. The Queen's royal guard blocked their path. These weren't normal warriors. They were twice the size, bred specifically to protect the hive's ruler. "Change of plans," Hana said. "Everyone else, find another route. I'll handle these." "That's suicide," Taeyang protested. "That's an order. Nari's charges blow in 3 minutes. Get out now." There was a moment of hesitation. Then Wu Jin saluted. "See you at the ship, Captain." They left. Hana faced the royal guards alone. The first guard charged. Hana dodged, using its momentum against it. She drove her blade into its leg joint, crippling it. The second guard learned from the first mistake and approached more carefully. "Smart," Hana said. "Good. I like a challenge." The fight was brutal. Hana took a hit that cracked her ribs. Another strike cut her arm, but she kept moving, kept fighting. Each guard fell eventually. When the last one dropped, Hana ran. Her body screamed in pain, but she ignored it. Pain was temporary, death was permanent, and she refused to die here. She reached the extraction point with 30 seconds to spare. "Took your time," Wu Jin said, helping her into the ship. "Had to make it dramatic," Hana replied, then collapsed. Sumin caught her. The ship lifted off. Behind them, Nari's charges detonated. The spawning chamber collapsed. Then the secondary explosion started as the destruction spread through the hive. The entire structure began to crumble. From orbit, they watched Velkareth burn. Before they left the system, Commander Doyen made a broadcast. It went out on all Velnar frequencies. "This is Commander Doyen of Earth. You came to this galaxy as conquerors. You saw the coalition species as prey. You thought you could consume everything without consequence." He paused. "You were wrong. You chose total war. Now you face a species that evolved in total war. Every single day of our existence, Earth tried to kill us. Predators hunted us. Diseases infected us. Weather destroyed our homes. Rivals competed with us. We survived it all." Another pause. "We are not the coalition. We do not retreat. We do not negotiate with extinction events. We do not surrender. We adapt. We endure. We win." His voice hardened. "We are Earth, and Earth does not lose." The broadcast ended. 47 humans returned to Coalition space. 3 were seriously wounded, including Hana, but Sumin had kept them alive through the extraction. Coalition Command had expected 0 survivors. When asked how they survived, Taeyang shrugged. "We did what humans do. We fought. We adapted. We refused to quit." Within a week, Velnar forces began withdrawing from Coalition space. Intelligence reports showed chaos in their ranks. The loss of the breeding world had broken something in their hive mind. For the first time in 3 cycles, the swarm was retreating. Ambassador Trelvik visited the human medical bay, where Hana was recovering. "You shouldn't have survived," he said quietly. "The odds were impossible." Hana smiled, wincing from her injuries. "Ambassador, you need to understand something about humans. We don't care about the odds. We care about the mission. We care about each other. And we care about winning." "Why?" Trelvik asked. "Why risk everything?" "Because someone had to. Because you needed help. Because we're tired of watching good people die." She looked at him directly. "We're Deathworlders, Ambassador. We know death intimately, and we know how to beat it." Trelvik left the medical bay with more questions than answers. But one thing was certain. The galaxy would never underestimate Earth again. 6 months after the destruction of the breeding world, the war ended. The Velnar swarms sued for peace, something they had never done before. They retreated to their home systems and closed their borders. The coalition had won. Now came the harder question: what to do with the humans? The Coalition Council met in emergency session. Representatives from 60 species gathered to debate Earth's membership and future role in galactic civilization. "They saved us," said Ambassador Trelvik. "Without them, we would be extinct. Earth deserves full membership, full honors, full recognition." They terrify us, countered Representative Shess of the Orthex. We've read the reports. We've seen the casualty ratios. We've heard their soldiers laugh about death. They are predators living among prey. They are allies, Trelovic insisted. For now, Shess said. But what happens in a generation? What happens when they decide the coalition is too weak, too slow, too inefficient? They could conquer us easily. They won't, said General Prillin. He stood slowly, his age showing. I've fought beside them. I've watched them. I've learned something about humans that the reports don't capture. What? They choose peace, not because they can't win wars. They've proven they can win any war. They choose peace because they're tired of fighting. He looked around the chamber. On Earth, they fought for millions of years just to survive. Now that they're safe, now that they're strong, all they want is rest. The debate continued for hours. Finally, a vote was called. Earth was granted full coalition membership with one addition. Humanity would serve as the coalition's military defense force. In exchange, they received technology, trade rights, and political representation. Ambassador Trelovic delivered the news personally to Earth's orbital station. Commander Doyen listened to the terms and smiled. We accept, but I want to add something. What? We want to share our training methods. We want to teach coalition species how to defend themselves. We don't want to be your soldiers forever. We want you to be able to protect yourselves. Trelovic was surprised. You would share your military knowledge. It's not just military knowledge, Doyen said. It's survival knowledge. How to overcome fear, how to endure hardship, how to find strength you didn't know you had. Every species should have that. Some species can't learn violence, Trelovic warned. We're not teaching violence. We're teaching resilience. Doyen stood and walked to the window, looking at Earth below. You know what the hardest thing about being human is? Living with what we can do. Knowing we have the capacity for terrible things. We don't want other species to become like us. We just want them to survive. Commander Doyen retired a month later. He bought land on a quiet agricultural colony, far from Earth, where the gravity was gentler. He grew plants. He raised Earth animals. He taught local species about human farming techniques. The locals were fascinated and horrified in equal measure. You domesticate animals? Asked a young Talrini farmer named Prell. Yes, Doyen said, showing him the sheep pen. We take wild animals and breed them over generations to be calmer, friendlier. They give us wool, milk, and eventually meat. That seems cruel. Does it? These animals have food, shelter, protection from predators, and medical care. In the wild, they'd have none of that. We take care of them their whole lives. In return, they take care of us. Prell thought about it. That's actually a balanced relationship. Exactly. Humans learned long ago that cooperation works better than conflict. We just applied that lesson on a large scale. Word spread. More aliens came to visit Doyen's farm. They learned about crop rotation, animal husbandry, sustainable farming. Some were disgusted, others were intrigued, all left with a different understanding of humans. Captain Hanna became the official liaison between Earth's military and coalition defense forces. She traveled to different worlds, teaching, training, sharing knowledge. She was gentler than most expected, patient with slow learners, understanding of cultural differences. She never pushed species beyond their capabilities. Work within your limits, she told a class of Maluvian soldiers. You're aquatic. You'll never match human land speed. But in water, you're amazing. Use your strengths. Protect your weaknesses. That's not cowardice. That's smart tactics. The Maluvians excelled in underwater operations after that. They stopped trying to be human and started being the best version of themselves. Dr. Jiho established the Coalition Trauma Medicine Institute. She trained doctors from every member species in emergency care, combat medicine, and psychological support. Trauma is universal, she said in her opening address. Every species feels fear. Every species experiences loss. Every species needs help healing. We're going to teach you how to help each other. The Institute became one of the most respected medical facilities in the galaxy. Jiho's students spread across Coalition space, saving lives and mending minds. Sergeant Wu Jin opened a training facility on a Coalition station. He called it Earth Fitness and Wellness Center. The name was optimistic. The reality was brutal. "This is your light exercise routine?" gasped a Talrini student after 10 minutes. "This is the warm-up," Wu Jin said cheerfully. "We'll get to the actual workout after your body adjusts." Most students quit after the first week, but some stayed. Those who stayed grew stronger, not just physically, but mentally. They learned to push past comfort zones. They learned that growth comes from challenge. Wu Jin's gym became famous. Having completed an Earth-style workout became a badge of honor among Coalition species. Corporal Nari and Medic Sumin became first responders for disasters. When stations exploded, when ships crashed, when colonies faced environmental catastrophes, they went in first. "It's too dangerous," officials would say. "That's why you called us," Nari would reply. "They saved thousands of lives over the years. They went into places no Coalition species could survive and brought people out. They became legends." 5 years after the war ended, Ambassador Trelvik visited Earth for the first time. He wanted to see the death world that had produced such unusual beings. The visit terrified him. Everything was too heavy, too bright, too dangerous. He saw insects that could kill him with one sting. He saw weather systems that made him hide indoors. He saw animals that hunted in packs with strategic intelligence. But he also saw beauty. He saw humans living peacefully with nature. He saw cities built around forests instead of replacing them. He saw children playing in environments that would kill him. On his last day, a human child approached him. She couldn't have been more than 5 years old. She offered him a flower. "For you," she said. "Welcome to Earth." Trelevik took the flower carefully. It was beautiful, delicate. "Thank you. Aren't you afraid of me?" "I'm an alien." The child laughed. "Why would I be afraid?" "My mom says aliens are friends." That moment crystallized everything for Trelvik. Humans weren't dangerous because they lacked empathy. They were dangerous because they had survived the impossible and chose kindness anyway. Their strength came from choice, not necessity. 10 years after first contact, a young Talrini student asked Commander Doyun a question that had troubled the Coalition since the war. "Why did you help us? Your people could have conquered the galaxy. You proved you could beat the swarm. You could have beaten us, too. Why didn't you?" Doyun was working in his garden. He set down his tools and looked at the student. "Do you know how many wars humans fought on Earth? Thousands, millions if you count every battle. We fought over land, resources, beliefs, pride. We fought each other for most of our history." He picked up a handful of soil. "Eventually, we learned something. Fighting is easy. Winning is harder. But building something that lasts, that's the hardest thing of all. We got tired of fighting. We wanted to build instead." "But you're so good at fighting," the student protested. "Being good at something doesn't mean you should do it all the time," Doyun said. "I'm good at violence. I'm trained for it. I've done it. But I'd rather grow food. I'd rather teach farming. I'd rather watch things grow than watch things die." He smiled. "We're Deathworlders, yes. We come from a planet that tried to kill us every day. But that's exactly why we value life so much. We know how precious it is. We know how easily it's lost, so we protect it. We cherish it. We choose life over death. Peace over war, Friendship over conquest. The student was quiet for a moment. The galaxy misunderstood you. The galaxy feared us, Doyan corrected. And that's okay. Fear is natural, but now you know us better. Now you know that the most terrifying thing about Deathworlders isn't our capacity for violence. What is it? It's our capacity for love despite that violence. It's our choice to be gentle when we could be cruel. It's our decision to protect instead of conquer. He stood, dusting off his hands. We're strong enough to destroy, but we're wise enough not to. That's what makes us human. The student left with more answers than he'd come for. Years later, Coalition children learned about the war in their history classes. They learned about the Velnar swarm. They learned about near extinction. And they learned about Earth. The textbooks called humans many things: warriors, deathworlders, saviors. But the nickname that stuck, the one that children used, was simpler. They called humans friends. And in the end, that was all Earth had ever wanted to be.